everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode of Rippin' the Fence, I'm going to be breaking down everything we saw from Dover Motor Speedway. But before we hop into the video, I just want to quickly remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it if you guys did that. But let's go ahead and hop into the video. Matthew, my friend and co-host, is joining me as always. And we got a lot to talk about from Dover. But quickly, Matthew, how are you doing before we go ahead and hop into things?
Well, I'm doing good. Just wrapping up the weekend at the Monster Mile. I felt like we saw an amazing weekend of racing and got some different topics we gotta talk about. But yeah, let's get right into it.
Alright, quickly want to start off talking about the Xfinity Series race because that was interesting in several different ways. Things all started getting interesting around 40 laps to go. There was threats of rain coming in the area, and there are no lights at Dover. So obviously they were trying to race as long as they could, and it was a strategy race to see who could be the leader when the rain eventually came. The rain ended up starting to fall, but NASCAR, they decided to obviously throw the caution and then bring the cars down pit road. But before that, I think they actually opened pit road. A few drivers pitted, and then they brought the cars down pit road for a red flag for a little bit, and then they went right back on the racetrack with 33 laps to go, and they decided to run green. But Cole Custer and Justin Allgaier, they were trying to stay out and catch the rain, and hopefully the race would be called. They did not get that luck, so they both had to pit. And then cautions breed cautions. That's what happened after that. Former teammates Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill were fighting for the lead at one point, and then Carson Quaffle, the rookie, making his second career start, passes both of them coming off of turn 4, 3 wide going into turn 1. Another caution ended up coming out. Carson Quaffle was controlling the restart on the top. Austin Hill was on the bottom, and Austin Hill spun out, and Carson Quaffle was in the lead again when the caution came out. And then on the final green white checker restart, unfortunately he was not able to hang on. Ryan Truex ended up kind of running him up the racetrack a little bit in turns 3 and 4 on that second green white checker. Ryan Truex was able to get by him and ended up winning. Back-to-back years for Ryan Truex winning at Dover, so congratulations to him. But let's get into the Cup race. And first of all, I want to say that the crowd looked absolutely packed on TV, so that's always good to see. I even saw a few things on Twitter or X about traffic being backed up and everything. Obviously traffic being backed up is bad, but that shows that a lot of people were in town for the race, so that's good. Matthew's driver Kyle Busch, he started on the pole and hopped into the lead early. Ryan Preece, he had an issue. Apparently the foam on the car, I don't know if it caught fire or if it was just smoking or whatever, but it got really hot in the car, and Ryan Preece had to come down pit road, get out of the car. Not 100% sure what was wrong, but I know it had to do with that foam inside the race car, so very strange. Hopefully they can figure out what was wrong with that race car, because never a good sign when those race cars catch fire like that. The 100 cars, they made their way through the field after most of them started deep in the field. They made their way up into the top 10. I know Larson started pretty far in the back. I know Chase Elliott was pretty far back there as well. They started making their way up into the top 10 in the first stage. But Martin Truex Jr. would win the first one. I know Kyle Busch started leading the stage, and then I think Ryan Blaney passed him, and then William Byron eventually got the lead, and then Truex got the lead at the end of the stage. There were a few lead changes in the first stage. Martin Truex Jr. ended up getting it done. In the second stage, William Byron had a slow green flag pit stop. They dropped the jack too early, so that cost him a bunch of track position. He fell back into the teens, or maybe even early 20s. Larson would win the second stage over his teammate Alex Bowman. And then on that pit stop, Denny Hamlin was able to take the lead. He won the race off of pit road. And on that restart, I believe Denny Hamlin was able to jump out to the lead. There was a caution with 72 laps to go in the middle of green flag pit stops. Daniel Hemrick was the leader, but Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, and Noah Gragson were all on the lead lap, so they would cycle to the front of the field since they were on the lead lap. And then on that restart, Hamlin he took the lead back from Larson on the bottom, but there was a crash on that restart involving William Byron, Bubba Wallace, and Christopher Bell. Looked like Bubba Wallace got loose from, I don't know if there was contact between him and Zane Smith or it was just air, but that sent Bubba around and then he just spun right back down the racetrack. Obviously, with Dover being severely banked on the straightaways, once the car starts sliding down the racetrack, very hard to stop that car. So unfortunately, that took out Byron, Bubba Wallace, and Christopher Bell. And Christopher Bell has had a terrible weekend in general. He crashed in practice, so he had to start at the back, and then obviously got caught up in that wreck as well. Tough week for Christopher Bell there.
More like a terrible month in general for Christopher Bell.
Yeah, Christopher Bell has had a very tough month, and this did not add to that. Um, but after that caution, it did go green the rest of the way. Denny Hamlin jumped back in front on the restart, and he was able to control the race. Kyle Larson, he did ended up closing back on Denny Hamlin, but was not able to get the pass. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But Denny Hamlin would go on to win at Dover, his third win of the season. So let's quickly go over the results. They'll be on the screen for you guys as always. Matthew's driver and my driver both got top 5 finishes, so good job, Matthew. High five. Boom. Yeah.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
Both our drivers got a top 5, so I think we're both happy with those. I don't think either of our drivers had a race winning car. Kyle Busch did actually have to come back and top off for fuel. I don't know if I mentioned that under that one caution, so good thing that caution did come out because if that race went green, Kyle Busch maybe would have had to stop under green and top off with fuel and win a lap down and all that kind of stuff. So fortunate break for him to be able to catch that caution there. But both our drivers got top 5, so great runs for them. Two Fords, Noah Gragson and Ryan Blaney in the top 10 as well. Daniel Hemrick finishes ninth after staying out and catching that caution, so good run for him. Ty Gibbs rounds out the top 10. So let's quickly talk about the race, and starting off with the winner, Denny Hamlin. I don't know. This might be Denny's year. I think he might have to pull that quote out of the bag again. Like once the playoffs come, he might have to be like, "This is our year. It's our year," because he's won three races out of I think they've ran 11 so far, and I don't know. It seems like just about anywhere they go, Denny Hamlin has a chance to win. Maybe besides road courses, everywhere else it seems like Denny Hamlin has pretty much a chance to win any kind of oval. We've seen him win Dover, Bristol, and then obviously he won the Clash 2, which is a short track. So any oval, Denny Hamlin's got a chance to win at. So this could be his year, or maybe he might not win the championship, but he could go on a tear, kind of like William Byron did last year, win 5, 6, 7 races this year. So definitely look out for Denny Hamlin. As for the racing on the racetrack, I thought the racing was good. There was tire wear, and the track was changing throughout the race too. You can see the track get darker all the way up almost to the wall. There were multiple grooves. Drivers could pass, but unfortunately, as for the ending of this race, like I said, I would come back to. Aero blocking was a factor and ended up making this race a tiny bit more disappointing. Just because at the end of the race, Kyle Larson caught Denny Hamlin running that high line. Denny Hamlin moved up there and cut that lane off, and Kyle Larson couldn't get within 3, 4, 5 car lengths of him to even try to make a pass on Denny Hamlin. So the racing was good until that point, but before that, drivers could run the bottom, they could run the top, they could make passes on either lane. But just kind of unfortunate with this next gen car how aero blocking gets in the way. But Denny Hamlin, he did the right thing. He used the car to his advantage, not getting on him at all because that's the right thing to do. Like, you're supposed to do that. But yeah, just unfortunate that aero blocking got in the way. And the last thing I quickly want to talk about is Ford, because I have seen a lot of people talking about Ford not being in victory lane yet this year in any of the NASCAR's top 3 series, Truck, Xfinity, or Cup. And I think, honestly, for all 3 series perspective, I think Xfinity is their best chance with Cole Custer or Riley Herbst. But in the Cup Series, yeah, they just have not had they have not had a great start to the year. Seems like super speedways are pretty much their only real chance at wins right now. Ryan Blaney was pretty good today. He got out front and led some laps early in the first stage. Kind of lost some track position, wasn't able to get back up there. I do want to shout out Noah Gragson, though. Finishing 6th today, he ran in the top 10 for most of the day, I believe. So Ford is like, they're not getting blown out of the water. They're just not bringing race winning cars to the racetrack. Like Noah Gregson's ran well this year, Ryan Blaney's ran well. I'd argue they've been the top two Fords all season long. Joey Logano has been nowhere to be found. Josh Berry's been pretty good as well. Chase Briscoe's been all right. Ryan Preece, Austin Cindric, they've been nowhere to be found either. But they have a few good, or Michael McDowell too. McDowell, he's been good on the super speedways. So Ford, they have the capability to win. They just haven't been able to bring race winning cars to the track. As for the next few weeks, Kansas, I don't think they're going to win there just because I think Toyota is going to be really strong there next weekend. Darlington, they might have a chance there. Darlington's a chaotic track. Coke 600, we all know this Coke 600 can sometimes get kind of wild, a really long race. So maybe in the next few weeks, Ford will have a chance, but definitely not the start to the season they wanted with that new Dark Horse Mustang. Um, but yeah, I think that's really all I have to talk about for the race. Matthew can go ahead and share his thoughts about what he saw from the track today.
All right. First and foremost, want to congratulate Denny Hamlin on his third win of the season. Um, I mean, he had one of the best cars today, and so far he's looking like a championship contender once again. But like, I mean, we've seen this story before. We'll see how this season goes. I'm not gonna say he's a championship favorite just yet, but he is definitely one of them right now with William Byron, Kyle Larson. Um, but yeah, he ran a great race today. He was top five most of the day. Of course, he capitalized at in stage three with the amazing pit stop that he had, and yeah, I mean he was able to pretty much hold out a fast charging Kyle Larson at the end of the race, which I'll get into that in a little bit. But he did what he had to do, and he was able to get the win. So congrats to him. Um, and I mean, like you said, our drivers finished top five, and thank the Lord, something good happened with this 18. For once, I felt most of the race I did not have a lot to complain about, other than they didn't get full fuel, which I mean, that come on, what are we doing there? But they got a lucky break with that one, and they were able to get that refilled in the caution, and still was able to get a top five out of it. So, I mean, thankfully, finally, I know a top five since Atlanta, which feels like it's been months ago. It's been so long, it feel like, but yeah, this is definitely positive momentum for this A team going into Kansas, which I feel like they'll be good there as well. So, a great day for him. Noah Gregson, six. What another amazing day it was for Noah Gregson. 2 weeks in a row, he's finished top 10. Well, last week it was top five, but still, amazing couple weeks for Noah Gregson. Amazing, I would say an amazing first half of the season for Noah Gregson. I feel like he's been the biggest surprise this season so far. And I mean, I don't think a lot of people had a lot of expectations for him this year, considering SHR right now is not necessarily in the best spot right now. I mean, we're talking about rumors of downsizing, rumors of leaving Ford. There's a lot of stuff going around on this team behind the scenes, and I feel like Noah Gregson so far this year has absolutely exceeded expectations. So, good job for him. Ryan Blaney, seventh, who continues to be pretty much the best Ford in the garage all season long so far. I mean, where's his teammates? Where's Joey Logano at? Logano, 16. Cindric, 15. I mean, where are they? I mean, I feel like it's ridiculous that we are forgetting Joey Logano is in this race today. I legit forgot he was even in the race today. I mean, that's for Penske standards, for Logano standards, that is unacceptable. So they got some work to do. Penske and Ford in general. They still got a lot of work to do. Um, Daniel Hamrick, who finishes in the top 10, which he definitely called a lucky break, that's for sure. I mean, he stayed out during the green flag pit stops in stage three, and then the caution came out with Stenhouse spinning, and that was pretty much a big break for him. But to his credit, he was able to hang on that track position the rest of the way. So great run for Daniel Hamrick. Back to back top tens actually for Hamrick. He did finish the top 10 last week at Talladega as well. Great day for Kaulig Racing in general because AJ Allmendinger finished 13th. He was in the top 10 most of the day. Finally, Kaulig Racing showing some speed, which I mean that's something we haven't seen in a long time. It seems like so good for them. So on to the main points of this race. I thought this race was very good. Of course, this track is known for multi groove, multi lanes. You can ride in the high lane, the low lane. The tire wear was actually really good as well. You can see a lot of rubber getting built into the concrete over time. So tire wear was good. Of course, the main talking point from this weekend throughout the season, I feel like we're gonna be talking about now is aero blocking. All about air. um, yeah, I mean, it's definitely frustrating. Let's just say that. I mean, this isn't the first time this happened this year with this whole aero blocking thing. We saw this happen in Vegas when it was Larson leading and Reddick was coming in, charging at the end, and Larson was going up in this lane, blocking, and Reddick wasn't able to get to him. And well, I don't think it's impossible to pass because there were passes for the lead today. I don't want to act like no one could pass for the lead. They were able to, but of course, and when it mattered most, they couldn't, and that's definitely frustrating. Considering we look at other sports, we've seen a lot of change, rules changes in other sports where it favors the offense. And now in NASCAR, they're focused on the defense now more than the offense. It's all about defense now. Um, I think one suggestion that could fix this, and Kyle Larson brought this up at the end of the race, that maybe we should take out that whole rear view camera that they have. Um, Larson stated that it's pretty much you pretty much don't need a spotter to pretty much don't need a spotter at this point. You can just literally, look at your rear view camera, which is right in front of your face, and be like, "Oh, he's going high. I'm just gonna go high up here." Um, I think they need to get rid of that. I mean, it looks cool, with the technology and all that. It looks cool, but obviously, I feel like it is affecting the racing a little bit. With it, just seems like the drivers can easily see what's going on with that camera. So I think they need to take that out and just keep the traditional mirror. I think that will help a little bit. It's probably not a permanent fix, but I think it will help a little bit. Of course, everyone's going to be talking about the diffuser and all that. Maybe a good suggestion would be putting the diffuser that's on the short track package right now on to what they have now in any other track for the intermediates, Dover, etc. Maybe we need to put that diffuser on this car on this package that's in mile and a half or Dover. I think we should give that one a try. We've talked about how arrow doesn't matter at short tracks. Um, we keep talking about that. I think in the bigger tracks, arrow absolutely does matter. So I feel like those changes would actually be beneficial to the package at these bigger tracks. Um, so I think we should give the diffuser we have on the short track package right now, put that on with the intermediate cars a try. Let's give that one. Give that one a try and see if it works or not. I don't think it would hurt anything. So, um, I mean, it's not really, a dire situation. I feel like, NASCAR should still focus a lot on the short track package first. and then focus on the aero blocking or intermediates, and then third, focus on the super speedways with the fuel saving and all that. That's my tier of what they need to work on first. I think they still need to work on the short track package first and foremost, because you can say what you want about the aero blocking today. It's still way better than any of the short track racing we saw this year so far. So yeah, fix short track first, and then worry about this aero blocking thing next. So other than that, good race. Congrats to Hamlin. And yeah, what an amazing crowd we saw today. And that's why I say we need more one race dates, because more people will fill in and that one race date more than 2 dates. So I'm an advocate for one race dates.
All right, let's go ahead and rate this race and do our paint scheme of the race. For me, I think I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. Pretty much explained why earlier. I liked how the drivers could move and do different lanes. There was a little bit of tire wear today, a few cautions as well, not just green flag runs the whole race. So solid, average race in my opinion. I'll give it a 7. My paint scheme of the race is actually going to be, and didn't mention this in the recap, so sorry about that, but it's going to be Corey Heim's STP slash Dollar Tree car. Corey Heim ended up filling in for Eric Jones, who has a back injury due to his crash at Talladega, so hopefully he feels better soon. He was at the racetrack and seems to be making good progress very quickly, so hopefully he could be back in the car very soon. But my paint scheme of the race is going to be that number 43 car. I love the classic petty colors, and then on the decklet of the car, they have the numbers 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45 for all the numbers that the Petties have driven throughout their career. So I thought that was a really cool little small detail on the car as well. So that's going to be my favorite paint scheme. Matthew, what are you going to rate the race, and what was your favorite paint scheme?
For me, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 as well. I thought this was a good race. Of course, I know the ending was a little bit frustrating, but other than that, it was still a very good race. So we did see passing. I'm not gonna say it was impossible to pass. We did see passing. Of course, the strategy was also interesting as well. We saw Corey LaJoy playing the strategy game. It didn't work out too well for him, but we saw Hemrick did the same thing, worked out for him. So overall, good race, 7 out of 10. And as for my paint scheme in the race, I'm gonna go with Tyler Reddick's McDonald's car. This McDonald's paint scheme needs to be mandatory on all 2311 cars going forward. I cannot stand Bubba Wallace's McDonald's scheme with the black on the back. I mean, why do we need that? Tyler Reddick's paint scheme literally should be what a McDonald's paint scheme should be on all 2311 cars. So I gotta go with that one. That paint scheme is amazing.
All right, and as for at least my closing thoughts, I'm going to talk about the All Star Race format because that was announced this week, and then there's a twist on the All Star Race as well. So I'm just going to read through a list. I'll throw it up on the screen for you guys as well. So there's obviously going to be an open practice and qualifying as well for the cars that aren't automatically qualified for the All Star Race. For the main event for Cup qualifying, they're going to bring back the pit road challenge. So, kind of like how they used to back in the day at Charlotte, they're going to do one full lap around the racetrack. On the second lap, come down, do a 4 tire pit stop, go back on the racetrack, and finish the lap and do 3 laps around the track total. And that combined time will set the qualifying order. I love that they're bringing this back. I wish they were doing this at Charlotte just so the cars could come off of turn 4 going 160 miles an hour down pit road, but hey, I'll take it. They're bringing it back. It's at North Wilkesboro. They're doing pit stops and everything, so I'm here for it. I love it. So they're bringing that back for qualifying. Apparently, the fastest pit stop based on timing lines will determine the pit crew champion as well as the order for pit stop selection. And then on Saturday, they're going to do 60 lap heat races with lineups determined by the qualifying orders. They're doing 2 heat races. This is where things get interesting. So teams can use whatever tire they want. There's going to be a caution at lap 30 where teams must make a 4 tire pit stop. So that is interesting. And then for the main event on Sunday, the Open is going to be a 100 lap race. All laps count. Teams can start on any tire, caution at lap 50, where they must do a 4 tire pit stop. The top two of the open race advance to the All Star race, and then there's a fan vote winner. And then the main event is going to be 200 laps, all laps count, overtime in effect. Teams have 2 sets of prime tires and 2 sets of option tires. They must start on the option tire, caution at lap 100 with mandatory 4 tire stop, and caution at lap 150 with no requirement to pit. So let's quickly go over what these tires are. Let me see, where is it? I just saw it on here. Um, where was it? Okay, yeah. Drivers will have 2 sets of prime tires, which are traditional slick tires. They're used um, as a normal basis, and then there's 2 sets of option tires, tires that are slick but use the rubber from the rain tires NASCAR uses on short tracks and road courses. So apparently, it's the rain tire without the grooves is what this option tire is. So I'm very interested to see how this works. I don't think there's been any kind of testing with this tire that I know of. So I'm very interested to see how this works. Hopefully, this option tire wears and is something Goodyear can use for the rest of the season. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So I'm very interested to see how this works, and I think a lot of the drivers and teams and fans are too. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. This makes the All Star race a lot more interesting, especially with drivers having the option to put those different tires on throughout the race. So hopefully it's a good show. But Matthew, what are your closing thoughts, if you have any, about the All Star race or about anything else in general?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the All Star race now after hearing what's going to be taking place with the format and the different tire options. I think it should be a contest here. It should be a vote here of whatever tire that Goodyear brings, which one of these different tires, the one that wears out the most should be the standard tire that they use the rest of the short tracks for the season. I think we need to make it like some sort of a contest thing to see which tire wears out the most, and the one that does wear out the most should be the standard tire for the rest of the short track races this season. I think that's how they need it to do it this season for this All Star race. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, and yeah, I think that's it. Other than I just feel bad for all the Ford fans right now who are absolutely in pain every single weekend. It seems like maybe not as big as pain as last weekend, but yeah, sometimes for Ford, they need to figure something out because we're getting towards halfway through the season and nothing so far, nothing. So yeah, they got some work to do.
And there was also an announcement pre-race today that Kyle Larson is going to be missing practice for the All-Star race, and Mr. Kevin Harvick is going to be filling in for Kyle Larson for practice during the All-Star race. So that'll be cool to see Kevin Harvick get back behind the wheel of a car, and a Hendrick car too. So that'll be fun to see what happens during practice for Kevin Harvick. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Kansas is going to be next week, so we will make a video about that race whenever that race is finished. But thank you guys for watching this video. We greatly appreciate it, and we will see you guys in the next one.